I also had this moment like, man, the enemy is real and he's trying to kill, steal, and destroy. And I told God, like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be a Christian rapper. I don't want to give up making secular music. I tried it and it's lame. It's corny. No one's going to want to listen to me. That's not cool. So in a sense, I rejected God. So I kept my faith to myself. I didn't tell nobody I believed in God. I didn't tell nobody that I really believed that he's real. I just kept it to myself, and I tried to blend in. And the more I tried to blend in, the more depression I felt. Years later, this was 5 years of me trying to hide, because I wasn't even a Christian. I wasn't claiming I was a Christian. I was just somebody that had that moment of, man, God is real. He spoke to me. I went back into smoking and drinking and partying and trying to act like it never happened. And I tried to convince myself, man, I'm crazy. I'm tripping. Like, that didn't really happen. Well, what happened is my dad, he got out of prison. Oh, let me back up. Right before he got out of prison, while he was in prison, it got really deep, intense. I started to get depressed. I started to hear a voice that said, kill yourself. Your grandma passed away. She went to heaven. And you know, in the Bible, when God is calling people away, you missed the rapture. You got left behind. You're going to go to hell. But if you want to go to heaven, you need to kill yourself. And that voice was so loud, and I heard it. And I'm looking around at people like, dang, they can't hear it. If I tell somebody and I'm hearing voices, they're going to tell me I'm crazy. And they're going to tell me, no, you're just smoked too much. I just bottled it up. I kept that spiritual warfare that was going on. I kept it to myself. I didn't go talk to a pastor. I didn't talk to my mom. I didn't even tell my friends about it. I tried to bury that by myself, which caused me to drink more, smoke more. And the big part of my testimony, what I want to get to, is that took me to a place of deep depression, where now I'm acting out of character because this voice is telling me all types of things, like touch this tree, walk here. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, is this God? Is this God? Is this God? I'm questioning myself, like, whose voice is this? Because I can't decide, like, because this voice is telling me to do 3 good things, then out of nowhere it'll tell me to do a bad thing, like to hurt somebody or to harm myself, or it'll speak negative about me. And I'm like, man, I don't think God would say that to me. And it got so unbearable for 3 to 5 years. It got so unbearable that it got to me, and I began to do the most outrageous stuff. I began to take my clothes off and wander the streets and walk the streets. And I look at a stop sign, and my brain would be like, stop. I look at a one way and it'd be like, walk this way. And I walk down a one way. It just, that voice just led me to do so many different things. But before I would go over the edge, I would stop myself. And I know it was God allowing me, but to stop myself, like, that ain't the right thing to do. I'm about to just go home and act like this didn't happen. Well, God, I was wandering the streets. That's how I can explain it. Like, the people in my area, I don't know about everywhere else, but there's people that walk the streets and they yell out things, and they just yell things out their mouth, and they pace back and forth, and they wear the same clothes over and over and over, where eventually it got to the point where that was me. And I was looking raggedy. I was looking dingy. I was losing weight. And I was just out here walking the streets, looking homeless. All my friends, they had moved off, went to college, moved away, and I was just here by myself, just kind of trying to process and getting more depressed. Like, I went from a well-known rapper in my community that everybody wants to be around me, to like struggling, no money, no food to eat, hearing voices. Police wouldn't even want to pull me over and take me to jail for misdemeanors and stuff. It got to a point where they would take me to a place called Robert Young Center, which is what we call like a crazy home, and lock me away in there. And the nurses would have you take pills to subdue you and keep you like a zombie or whatever. I tried to commit suicide while I was in there. I picked up a Bible and read it, and the voice was like, read only the red words. And I was reading the red words, and it was like, if your eye something, then pluck your other eye out. And I'm like, what? The Bible was telling me to stab my eye and take it out if I look lustfully at something, and I was taking it literal. And that's my story, man. I was I can say demon possessed, because I tried to fight police. I got tase marks on my back. I tried to fight nurses. I was losing control of my mind in my deepest place. My dad was in prison around that time still. And in my deepest place, it's like a blur, but I remember it. I remember kicking. I remember spitting. I remember fighting and yelling and lashing out. But I also remember being being conscious inside of there, aware that what I was doing, but I just couldn't stop. And like, what is like, and I was just crying out to God on the inside. Like, it was kind of like the movie Get Out, where it's like I didn't have control of my actions. Yeah, I was in the hospital. Oh, Jesus, I got to tell the whole thing. I was in the hospital because I was in the Robert Young Center, and I needed medical attention, medical help, and I started to cry out to God.
Mm.
I started